It's gonna last.
I don't
So
know
wait,
how long this coffee is gonna last.
are we
It's
are we
freezing.
doing the thing? You send me the recording too, so that we can.
No, we won't do that yet because until you get your old madness together, then we'll do that.
Why you gotta put my old man this?
I don't want you caught on camera doing this.
That half was strong. Parties in third grade and stuff like that. What my school did. My
Cheeseburgers, 30 hot dogs, and a barrel.
Feels good to be here. Still got a lot of goals and stuff. I'm about to retire. I don't. It's not there, and I don't.
Right now, I'm on the grind. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What's up, everybody? As you can
As the
see,
lights go out.
As you can see, are back to our normal shenanigans. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to another episode of the GrumpyGilsKickback. Got my man Big Grump on the other end, and your boy Stump the Grump over here. You know what I'm saying? So hope all is well with y'all. There's a lot going on in the world, so stay dangerous, keep your head on a swivel, and let's just have a good time and try and enjoy some laughs while everything else is chaotic. So
this house. So craziest thing to me, right? And as we already said, the world is kind of in chaos as it always is, no matter what's going on. But what's chaotic to me this week is the fact that when people ask questions, but then they don't like the answers that they get. Ooh, why do they do that? Why do they ask the question and then you don't like the answer that you don't get? Was it because you didn't expect the answer? You expected a lie? Did you expect somebody to stroke your ego? Did you not expect the truth? Or was the truth that you developed in your head is the only truth that you can hear? I don't know. You tell me what you think about that.
So it's almost, you're setting yourself up with a loaded question, right? Like it depends on how you're asking it, right? But I think people sometimes just want to test their reality when they ask those questions. That's what I personally think, right? So and I've had an example of this before happen before me, and I didn't expect that person to say that. But then I was like, at the same time, in the back of my head, I was like, well, this is why I'm here and you're not. Like, you know what I'm saying? So whatever you think doesn't really matter, but you were speaking what your truth think should be. So what I'm going to say is, at one point in time in my career, I asked somebody something. He was a junior sailor, and she was just like, I was a LPO E5 at the time. And I was like, oh, like, what do you think of me so far? I'm a little bit different. He's like, well, I think your work ethic sucks, and blah, 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 blah. I was like, whoa, okay. That was surprising. But in my head, I was like, you're the first person that ever told me that. Like, and I know it. I'm not saying that maybe I would at some point in time, like it did, but at that point in time, I was like, I feel like I was pretty on par. But I've also had to learn that some people, when you don't work to whatever their own expectations are, you're always gonna suck. Right? Like if their expectation of you is to be like X, Y, and Z, but you have your own expectation of yourself and you're still meeting your marks of whatever is need to be done, whatever, it's just not done in their way, you're always gonna suck. You know what I mean? When I ask that question,
so my question is, like, so before we go deeper into this, so at that point in time, right, you said you didn't feel like you sucked, but did you ask that person why they felt like you sucked?
No, I didn't. I just was just like, whatever. Like, but I'm also the type of person when somebody says something like that, I'm gonna go back and be like, okay, well, let me try and figure out why he says. Let me evaluate myself. It's not like I'm just gonna not like, bro. It's nobody's ever told you that, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you suck. Especially when it comes from somebody junior. You're like, damn, bro. Like I got here because I didn't suck. So now you're saying I suck. So what? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm gonna go back for me personally, where I am. I'm gonna go and evaluate everything. Like, okay, what am I doing that's wrong? And I'm not saying like at the time maybe I couldn't see it. I was doing something that he didn't like or whatever. But I'm not. But at the end of the day, bro, like I said, everybody's got their own expectation of things and how they see things. And once I fell back, I was like, okay, I'm not the problem. It's him, and it's because the way how I like to run things, he didn't like it. So for him, I sucked. It is what it is. That's how like he had his own expectations of what an LPO should be, but I was like, I'm still meeting the mark of everything I need to get done. So at the end of the day, I guess yes, thank you for saying that I suck. So it made me reevaluate myself. So now I know how to maneuver a little bit differently, but I wouldn't be I wouldn't been put in that position if I wasn't doing the right things.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, I mean, facts. But I wasn't really comparison, but I was just like, I did question, okay, so what am I doing that makes me suck? But I didn't follow up with that, like in his opinion of like what, you know what I'm saying? And that's probably that's my fault. But at the time I was just like, oh, I suck. I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go figure this out. But for right now, like, I don't think I suck that bad for me to be in a position I'm in. So it is what it is. But yeah, people always will ask those questions and not expect the answers that they're getting because I think also you're naturally curious, right? Most people are naturally curious. So like you ask a question you don't want the answer to, like now curiosity kills a cat, as I was always told. You're trying to help kill your curiosity. So
yeah.
But some people don't know how to get the unsaid clues to get the right answer, right? And by reading people's body language or whatever the case may be, when instead of asking the question, like, let me get a better and bigger look at the whole picture before I go and ask this question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's quite interesting when you like actually even talk about because there's been plenty of instances of times of me in the military when I've asked a question. I'm like, oh, well, you tell me the truth. So fuck it. That's your truth. Like I asked the question, I gotta accept it, right? You know what I mean?
Sometimes it is hard to hear the truth about yourself. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And it is everybody's definition of something is always different than them. Like for instance, for me, one question I got asked one time was about, gift giving. And I explained at the time, I was like, hey, look, this is what I did for this person, blah, blah, because they like this specific thing at the time, went in depth and thought about it and put something together. And she was like, well, I don't believe that's giving somebody a gift. That's just doing something that they like. And I'm like, what? That didn't make sense. She was like, well, I believe a gift is this. And what you gave that person wasn't a gift. You just gave them something that they liked. And I was confused by what she was talking about. And I just looked at her crazy because it was just like, what do you mean by this? This person loved it and it was a gift. It was for their birthday at the time. And she was like, well, if you would have did that for me, then I would have just been like, oh, thank you. But that's not a gift and it wasn't something thoughtful because that's just surface level stuff. And I asked her to explain what she meant and she couldn't articulate like what she was talking about or how it wasn't a gift or how it wasn't thoughtful for that person. Just in her mind, it wasn't a gift. And that's not how you do that. Cause she was talking about the gifts I'm talking about are just for love language specifically. And I'm like, that goes into love languages if you understand what the love languages are. But I had to take a step back and think about it of what she's talking about. Everybody's definition of something is always going to be different. No matter how you get down to the path and road, it is literally the same thing. Her definition of being thoughtful and stuff like that only deal with love languages and how she sees them. My definition is cool, it's something thoughtful, but also it deals with the love language of knowing that person and who you're talking to. It was just better to get to know that person and do something for them specifically instead of doing you can't do a catch-all for everybody.
No,
No, you can't.
no,
So
no. That's like
that's an
that
instance.
Sorry, go ahead.
Now that was just an instance for me. I got
Oh.
many other instances, but that one always sticks out from time to time.
Do you think what is one time in your career that you can remember that you asked a question, you're like, yeah, I shouldn't ask that at all. I should have just shut the fuck up and kept on about my day. Is there a moment in time that you remember specifically where you're like, I should have asked that question. I should have just left it alone.
No, actually, no. Like all the questions I ask is because it sits on the verge of curiosity. If I don't ask it, it's gonna bug me. Like I can tell you, there was one time where at one command, the LPO and I we had a good working relationship, but he kept riding my ass on certain things because he gave me leeway to do certain trainings the way I want to. And he was riding my ass because I gave him the timeline of how everything was playing out. And he just kept poking the bear and doing X, Y, and Z. And he said something to me in front of everybody one day. Okay, cool. Okay. Hey, man, can I talk to you real quick? And he's like, what's up? And he was all kosher about it. I was like, hey, man, did I sleep with your girl or something? Because, like, and it took him off guard. He was like, nah, I don't. Why you ask this? So I was like, hey, you told me you gave me leeway on this, and I'm doing this, and we're getting the progress. What is going on? And at the time, he just gave me a loaded answer of, well, we're falling behind. We're not getting enough qualified people. If I rest the qualification, guess what? We're going to have trash people qualified, and we're going to be in the same position that we are now. Then you're going to come back to me and it's like, hey, why aren't these people properly qualified? Cool.
True.
Some months down the road, he calls me one night and he's like, and he was drunk. He was like, hey, bro, look, I've been thinking about this for a while. You were right. I did have a problem with you. It's just the way you work. You work so efficiently. And I guess behind the scenes, they were trying to fire him from the LPO position, the leading petty officer position.
Yeah.
And he saw me as a threat to take his position because of the way I came in and I was doing work and I was getting people qualified. I was putting out plans of qualifications and how we were doing things, and we were getting a better quality of work at the time, right? And he told me that he's like, I saw you as a threat. You're up in here taking my position and gonna take my spot, even though I kept preaching. I was like, I don't want to do this position. I don't want to be in charge because now you're expecting me to do other things, and I feel like I can't, maneuver the way I want to at that time, maneuver the way I wanted to in that position as the LPO. And he was like, I didn't believe you when you said that. I just seen so many people backstab each other and take their position. I was like, bro, you don't gotta worry about that for me. I've told you this many times. I don't want that position. I don't want to be in charge of a bunch of people that I got to tell every day, hey, look, we need to do this by Friday. We need to turn this in by Thursday, and then still be there and not get anything done. So
that part.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I ended up in another position at the time at that command, which I was happy for. And it wasn't the LPO position. Didn't want to do it in the first place. But I had after we had that conversation, we came to an understanding, and it was a better environment after that.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. It worked out.
Yeah, it normally does to me personally. When the biggest thing to me when you come down to these questions that you truly don't want the answer to, those are the questions that you need the answer to. Like you said, for you, when you ask the question to your junior sailor about, hey, how do you think I am? And you suck. He said you suck, and you had to go self-reflect. That's what it is sometimes. especially when it comes down to like when you want to be in a relationship with somebody, are you trying to understand what's going on in their relationship, a working relationship, a personal relationship, other relationships, situationships, whatever you want to call them. It comes down to that sometimes where you got to ask those questions that you don't want to really hear the answer to, but you need to hear the answer to. And for other
Yeah.
people too, to me personally, if you don't want to hear the answer to a question, don't ask the question. If you ask a person how they're doing, and then next thing you know, they tell you like all this is going on, and you're like, that's not what I wanted to hear. I just wanted to hear if you're having a good day or not. You destroy people. You cut people off from talking to you, and that's where they don't want to tell you things at all. Period.
Yeah, that is true. That's like
I can't. Yeah, you go ahead. I know you probably got something for this.
no. So when I first became an LPO, right, I kind of had an idea of what to do and how to do it, but I didn't have that full leeway to do it the way I wanted to do it because I was still a second class and there was a first class over me, but he was acting chief, right? There was one time like the guys didn't do something and I was gonna snap on him. He's like, don't do that. I said, what do you mean? Like, why are you stepping on my toes? Like, I was pissed. I was like, I'm about to fucking blow up on these because I still have that like deck mentality, right? So I was about to snap on it. He's like, no, don't don't like. He was like suffering. He's like, don't. He's like, don't do that. He's like, one, you just became the LPO. So two, it's gonna make you look crazy. Like if you just like it was I forget because we were going through. I forgot what we were going through. Going through some inspection. He's like, it's gonna make you look fucking crazy. You just snap on them for no reason. Not that it wasn't a non reason, but it wasn't a valid enough reason for me to snap, right? And yell at them and be like, what the fuck, blah, 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 blah. He's like, two, he's like, who's gonna win if you do that? And I was like, they are. He's like, exactly. So be calm and learn how to punish them in silence. And I was like, damn, that's some slick ass shit. So
And that's crazy.
like so it's like Jedi mind tricks, bro. So like instead of like snapping sometimes, I would be like, and it wouldn't even have to do it would have to do anything crazy. It would be like say we're doing sweepers. If there was one thing they missed when they didn't fucking when they were doing their end of the day cleanup, they would have to stay an extra hour if they missed one thing. And then once that little small detail start clicking, everything else start falling into place. Right? So when him kind of to come back to him kind of like stifling me instead of me asking the question like why in the fuck you stop, it actually worked out because it taught me a different way without having to always just yell at my guys with the old like boastmate manner, right? Like yeah, just fucking like it taught me some Jedi mind tricks, and now like I'm getting them to do what I want because they know if I see one thing fucked up, they're gonna stay half an hour clean. So that fell in the so that him stopping me and doing all that stuff like made me see a different way and asking the right question. Cause I did. I was like, why you like I was like, I really didn't want to hear it, but I was like, dude, you gave me the LPO, let me do my fucking thing. And I asked him why he stopped me. He's like, well, because he's trying to teach me something. He's trying to teach me something as a leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So which it worked out. So it's not like I was in the wrong, but I was like, I still had that old like, y'all, one of y'all fucked up, all y'all fucked up, and I gotta fix the problem. So, but
It's not a one for all.
yeah, but like I said, it may be that moment in time and me asking the question I didn't want to hear actually helped me out.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, man, like yeah, the sad part is like a lot of people don't self-reflect after they ask those questions. They just, I think they let their own delusional. Like if you ask a hard question and you don't get the answer you want, and you still run with the same idea that everything's okay, you're the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the problem.
Yeah.
You're the problem. And
It's always good. To me, it's always good. It's good to get that second and third opinion. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. And this is why you need to have true people around you instead of yes people. You know,
100%.
if you have true people around you, they'll probably be like, well, if you look at it from this person's perspective, then yes, there is a possibility that you could handle this situation a different way, or versus doing what you did.
Sometimes, no, what I want to say is sometimes to just kind of close it. Sometimes you don't need 2 or 3 people. You just need the right person that you value, trust in, right? To get the answer that you want. But you also got to have the eyesight to see the right people around you. So, and depending on where you, obviously, the in effect manifestation, you want to surround yourself with the people you want to be like, millionaires make millionaires. You know what I mean? That type of concept. If y'all don't understand that, right? Like you want to go somewhere, start, you want to make money, you want to start trying to put yourself around people who are already doing that. If you keep yourself in the same crowd, you're never going to grow. So, but other than that, I ain't got too much else to say behind that. I think
Well, I got one for you. There was this one time, and you don't even know this because I really don't talk about this that much. Somebody asked a question. Well, it was a few questions. It was a survey I had to fill out, and I almost ended up on a 72-hour hold because of it.
ooh,
Yeah, that was a crazy situation, and it wasn't intentional. The way I responded to the questions at the time, they were like, "Oh, we need to talk to you about this," and this is where you need to understand the questions that are being asked in situations, because otherwise you will almost end up on a 72-hour hold. And I was until they sat down and actually talked to me. And another thing too, fill out psych. I will always recommend this. Never fill out a psych eval or a psych questionnaire on your phone. Fill it out on a tablet or fill it out on a computer. Something
on
bigger,
paper.
something bigger than a phone screen. Because
Gotcha.
somehow a lot of my questions, the answers got mixed up.
Ooh.
The answers got mixed up, and I
So
had to sit down and have
they'd have a special conversation with a special somebody, eh?
I had to have a special conversation with me and ask me about a lot of things, and they were confused because one of the questions was, "Do you do drugs?" And I remember clicking no, but somehow yes was clicked, and I'm walking in the room because I was the only person they had to go talk to that day, and a group one was together, and I could hear them talking in the other room. It's like, there's no way he does drugs. We just did your analysis on him, and he didn't pop on anything.
What the fuck? Holy cow.
There's no way he does drugs. And then he's talking about hearing voices. He can't be here if he hears voices.
Dog, your shit really messed up. That was crazy. Like your
Oh
phone.
man, yeah, my phone got me on that one. I think the only thing it got right was like at that time I wasn't sleeping well either. I would be sporadically sleeping because I was trying to adjust to shore duty coming from a ship in a high paced command and trying to just, bring down the tempo.
What year was it?
It was during COVID.
Oh, circa. Gotcha.
Yeah, it was a little bit during COVID, but it was prior to me getting switched to another command because the whole shoulder situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to get the shoulder repaired.
Well, you're a better man now, Mr. Bionic. You're a better man now, Mr. Bionic.
Yeah, sure.
But no, man.
Sure, if you say so.
I'm gonna put it through this. Sometimes you just gotta ask the hard questions and then face your reality and be the one to also look in the mirror after you ask those hard questions and select yourself.
Yeah. But another thing is too, I can understand why some people don't want to accept the answers to them. Because like you said, delusion. Some people want to live in in the delusion until it becomes true. And as we've talked many times and had many discussions, like we check in with each other from time to time, and especially when it comes down to this job that we do and we're in, and some of the things that we're seeing, and especially right now with what's going on in the world, you got to differentiate somebody cracking a joke and laughing about it and somebody really telling you something real. And
Yeah.
that's the hard part for some people to hear that real thing, because even you admitted it yourself, your ego kind of got in the way. It's like, how do I suck? I
Yeah.
can tell you my ego's gotten in the way of a lot of things sometimes. Even now, I have to take a step back when somebody answers something and I actually from a question that I asked, and I have to think about before I respond. Is this them lashing out? Is this, even if it's them lashing out, it's their truth. And if they feel like, if they want to try to hurt me or whatever, cool, great, that's fine. But I don't respond right at that moment. Just sit there and listen to it. Some reactions or some responses don't require reaction. And that's it until they be like, well, do you got something to say to that? No, not really, because that's what you believe. And then if they follow up with, so you don't believe that? It's about what you believe in this moment, because this is about you. This isn't about me.
I'm gonna double back to what you're saying with some actions don't require reaction, right?
Yes. Some responses don't require
So
reaction.
yeah, sorry. Some responses don't require reaction. It's incumbent of the person receiving that information to learn how to not respond. Some people don't have the emotional or the emotional maturity to be like, they're just telling me that. And like, you know what I mean? It's just like, that's their opinion. It's whatever. But some people don't have that emotional security. So it's also incumbent of you as the receiver of the information to be emotionally responsible for yourself and not to have to overreact because you can't control your emotions.
And
So,
and then too, I can understand why, once again, why people react to certain things, because the way people phrase certain questions or phrase certain responses, they try to garner a reaction to that.
yeah.
They try to garner a reaction to that. And sometimes when they don't get that reaction, and then they they start attacking.
Yeah. You just gotta learn how to, weather the storm, as they say.
Yeah. All storms come to an end eventually.
Like you know what wifey pointed out, and I have been conscious a lot now about it. She said, "Why you always say, you know what I mean?" I was like, she's like, even in your podcast. I was like,
Oh man, I'm glad. See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm glad you listen to her when she tells you these things, because these are the same things I tell you.
and I'm just like, why can't I just be Will? Like that's how I look at it. I'm not saying she's not wrong, but it's like, why can't I just be Will, bro? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why can't I just be Will?
Because at
So
the end
now,
of the day,
so now I'm
look at
like,
it like this. Wait. Before you go into this, I know where you're about to go, but look at it like this, right? She is only wanting you to be better because she have seen you speak before and talk, especially about subjects that you're passionate about. You don't say like 30 million times. You don't say, you know what I mean, 40 million times to reaffirm or reassure yourself, because you're not saying it to even though you're saying it to the person, it's not for that person. You saying it for yourself to reassure yourself that you know what you're talking about. So that's why she's telling you that, because I've told you the same thing as well.
let's not put this all back on me. Okay, first of all, I didn't ask you a question. I was making a statement. Okay, gosh, dog, man, it's all good. You know what I mean? I wasn't even mad. It's just now I'm like really be like catching myself.
You know what I mean?
I want to say it so bad too. Like I'm so used to like I really be trying to catch myself with saying it now. So it is what it is. But anyways, hey, I'm hoping y'all having a blissful, blessed one out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a pleasure to be able to do this stuff. enjoy this journey, and it's been fun, man. It's really ass. Like even today, I went back and scrolled through like the beginning, like which is only 4 months ago, but like the improvement is crazy. Like, man, so is this journey fast? No, it's not. And that's even more humbling, right? Is the patience that comes with all this and doing this. But it's still fun to be able to talk to my boy and share our opinions with the world. So I hope y'all join in and start tapping in more in the comments, and we can, eventually have guests on here one day and all that other stuff. But yeah, eventually like to we get some good comments, put them up on the screen and talk about them. So, but yeah, man, I ain't got much more to say, man. It's been cool. You got anything, Big Grump?
Yeah. So to circle back, to double back, to kick a dead horse a couple more times.
Jeez, how many horses you want to fucking kick, man?
But don't get me wrong. What we're doing is just joyful, playful banter. A lot of it comes from us knowing each other for, I think, what is this?
2016, 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
It's been 10 years. And
yeah,
we told the story from the first podcast that this is who we are towards each other. It's fun. It's light spirited. None of it comes from hurtful place. So people won't be like, oh, well, you always mean to him. No, y'all just don't see what he does to me off camera majority of the time. So let's just leave it at that. At the end of the day, a lot of it, we do it for improvement. The only way we've made it this far in our careers is because we ask those tough questions and we listen to those people, and we gain the emotional maturity along the way and the emotional intelligence along the way for people, from other people, be it good, bad, or indifferent. You're not always going to have a good experience with somebody and meeting somebody 3 different times. You will possibly always be the villain in somebody's story, no matter what. No matter if you believe yourself to be the nicest or kindest person in the world, you're always going to be the villain in someone's story, no matter what. And you could have brought them coffee one day, and why would you bring me coffee? Because I saw Jill over here bring you coffee, and I figured I'd bring you some coffee. Cool. My dad told me this when I was younger. You're not always meant to be liked by everyone. No matter what you do in life, everyone's not going to like you regardless. And then if everyone does like you, you might want to be kind of suspicious of that, because the day something happens and then the person you thought liked you or was there or your friend all the time ends up stabbing you in the back. So with that being said,
that makes sense.
Yeah, he was a wise old man when he was here. With that being said, practice makes permanent, never perfect, because there's no such thing as perfection.
That is true.
Your ego is the problem.